It's about 8 a.m. I'm getting ready to start my day. This week I feel like I've been having kind of like an off week, and I went to notice like what my routines are. It's like my morning ritual routines is something that I genuinely like love. I have like a very specific morning routine that when I don't do it, I feel like my whole day kind of gets thrown off a bit. And I've been realizing that I ran out of bone broth this week. I haven't been drinking bone broth in the morning for the whole week, and I feel like that kind of threw me off a little bit. And I'm also entering like I'm in my luteal phase. I'm entering my menstrual cycle, so I think my energy also just like has been fluctuating a bit. So I think those two combinations like really impacted my energy level. I don't really love to wake up and like have coffee first thing in the morning. I think it's really harsh on your stomach, and I spent too many years like doing that, so I've been trying to avoid where I can and just have a better like morning routine. And I've learned to like really love my morning routine. I get up, I get dressed, make the bed, I have my bone broth, my multivitamins, and then I'll have breakfast and coffee. But I feel like this week has just been so not sticking to my typical morning routine that I've been feeling just a little off. But we also have been going deeper and deeper into our pregnancy prepping journey. I've been learning so much about pelvic floor, breathing. Like, who knew that there was a right way to breathe? Breathing, pelvic floor. What else have we learned? The difference between Kegel and actually like controlling your breath and connecting those TVA muscles with your breath. So I've been learning a lot to do with the muscle-mind connection and just like pelvic floor health. I feel like there's so much to unpack in that general bucket of stuff. So I really want to take like a deep dive and share everything that I've learned with you guys, because I think the whole series that I'm doing on YouTube, and if you're new here, hello, welcome. I've been doing a series on my channel where my husband and I are in this prepping phase for pregnancy. Now, I've been prepping my body in multiple different ways, changed up a few things, like the things that I've been eating, just movements I've been doing, just focusing more on those specific movements and breathing. And we're about a year out, so we definitely have time, but I feel like I am someone who is very type A. I like to prepare, so if you know me in real life, you know that this is very on brand for me to be super on top of things in terms of preparation. So I have been taking it upon myself to kind of do some research and share as I go. So I'm kind of making this kind of like a guinea pig on myself, where I learn things, I implement it, and then I share it with you guys. So stay tuned for a lot of different things I'm going to be sharing, because I've been learning a lot. Prenatals, things to eat, movement, all of those things have such a huge impact on how you go into this phase, how you are during it and post it. So I think those are all correlated together, and I think it's so beautiful when women are doing this intentionally and also like sharing their journey. I think it's so incredibly such a privilege to be able to do that. And I've never been pregnant, so I have no clue how my body is going to react, how easy or hard it's going to be for us. So definitely taking this with an open mind of all possibilities and just tackling them as they come. I'm just like also really excited for this phase. I've always wanted to be a mom, so now that we are definitely here and entering this phase in reality, it feels kind of surreal. So I feel like there's just a lot to unpack and a lot to also do, right? I think a year out, you definitely have time, but I'm treating it kind of like a marathon. I'm really taking the time to learn as much as I can, implement, adapt, and really just see what works for my lifestyle. I've always been really into health and wellness, so this is not something super new for me. Like, a lot that I've been learning aren't things that I've never heard of before. Definitely, I would say, like, for example, Kegels and pelvic floor. I've heard it so often, but I don't know enough, you know? So I definitely have been doing some research in terms of what that actually is. I'm gonna finish getting ready for work. I'm gonna eat some breakfast that Kenny is making, and then we can chat more about everything that I've learned so far. And today I'm going to really be kind of focusing more on TVA, pelvic floor, and breathing, because I feel like that all kind of correlates, and there's so much there that I've learned that I also want your opinion on, because I feel like there's so much information that I almost get overwhelmed a little bit. And it's always so hard too, because it's, some of this is opinion based, some of this is science backed, so it's a lot to kind of like consider and put into perspective for yourself. So I'm gonna share it with you guys. You guys tell me what you've heard and where you are at on this journey. If you're in this journey or thinking about this journey, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Hello. Okay, well, I just about wrapped my day up at work and about to order some lunch, and figured now was a really good time to just hop on here and chat with you guys. I feel like this day just went by so fast. I had so many things planned to do today, and I'm like, you just get wrapped up at work with things, and other things come up, and fire drills here, fire drills there. So I wanted to share with you guys some things that I've learned. Every time I research about pregnancy prep, a lot of the same things come up, and if you're on this journey too, you probably have already done your research. Prenatals that you should be taking, you probably cut back on coffee, probably also feel a little overwhelmed. So if you're in this stage, or if you're ahead, or even like kind of thinking about it, I'm like really curious to see where you guys are at and what you discovered in terms of all the things to do with pregnancy prep. I really believe that treating this like a marathon is going to be so much better in the long run. During pregnancy and postpartum, I think postpartum is where it really gets us, with just like mental health and not feeling like ourselves. And I think that things like pelvic floor awareness, doing your Kegels, like I don't even know how to do a real Kegel. Like, am I doing it right now? I don't know. But just like, I think that these things will really help those postpartum. It's every time I do the research, it's the things that I come up always is like, it's going to help you with postpartum. It's going to help you with delivering the baby. It's going to help you with all these things. So I even read somewhere, I think it was like a TikTok that came up on my feed, and obviously the more that I research these things, the more that my algorithm like feeds them to me on TikTok and on Instagram. So I've been seeing a lot of women talking about their experience of diaphragmatic breathing and how much it really helped them in labor. I read somewhere, one of the ladies that I saw on TikTok said like, it took her 2 pushes, and this was her first pregnancy, for her baby to come out, just because she was working out and focusing on pelvic floor and breathing techniques, which is insane to even think about, like that these are things that you can do, which I believe our bodies are so incredible. Like, women, we are powerful. We create human life and then we bounce back. Like, it's insane. So anytime that I look at these things, it also gives me such like a immense amount of gratitude in my heart, because it just feels like we are so powerful, and we are a community of women who always are trying to like help each other. And I think that this whole process that I'm doing, what I'm learning too, is that there's a lot of information, but not a lot of places to like go directly to. Like, they're all informations are really scattered. Hence why I wanted to start this series, to be kind of like a guinea pig for myself and for you guys, to say, okay, these are the things that I worked on, and then like in a year from now, God willing, we have a baby, and in a year from now I could come back to these videos and say, you know what guys, like we were onto something here, and yes, like these things did an immense amount of impactful, like good impactful things for the delivery, for postpartum. Like, I'm not gonna be that type of person who's going to be super hard on myself, bouncing back, but I know myself, and I know that I'm definitely going to be working out, God willing, during my pregnancy, and as soon as I can post. It's not about my body looking a certain way anymore. It's really about my health, my mental health. Working out for me has changed my life, and I think that when it comes to movement, it is the treatment for a lot of mental health issues. And for me personally, I've always struggled with anxiety, so working out for me has been like a healing. It's been really a healing journey. I just know that this is going to be one of those things that I can look back on. I'm like very confident that this is going to be really helpful. I want to start with TVA because I think that that one has surprised me the most, like what it is and how impactful and how much of a difference it makes when you're actually activating your TVA muscle. Please remember, I'm no professional. I've just been reading about this, and if I say anything wrong, please correct me because I do not want to be spreading false information. I like to think of it as a hammock, like a hammock muscle that basically supports your entire core, and it holds certain organs. For example, your bladder, your uterus, right? Your bowel. So if you ever have heard of like women who have sneezed and say, oh my God, like I peed a little. So that is when your pelvic floor is weak. So what I've been learning is that the more that you focus on your breath and really breathe with intention to activate those muscles is when you can start working on that strength. So the first step to any of this is awareness. I think the first step to anything in life is awareness. Muscle-mind connection for working out in the gym is really probably the most important thing, is having that muscle-mind connection, because when you're going through the motions, you don't realize how many muscles you're activating and engaging. So when you have a focus that you are focusing on a specific muscle, you will work it so much more. So same thing with this breathing. So you want to really breathe. I'm going to stand up so I can kind of show you guys what I mean by this. It's like my rib cage, right? So you want to kind of put your fingers on this, kind of like near your groin, like on like right here. And you're going to feel when this muscle gets activated, you're going to feel it in here. Now, your transverse abdominis is essentially right here. And when you activate it, you essentially are creating like an inner corset that snatches your waist. So the more that you can engage that muscle, the better you are going to be able in controlling your breathing. So it starts with awareness. Now, when I do my diaphragmatic breathing, you're going to notice that a lot of us breathe with our belly and not with our chest. So I think I've seen this a lot on YouTube, especially when we breathe, we don't engage. So what we want to change here and really work on, especially if you're in that like pre-pregnancy prep like I am, is start doing this even when you're like washing the dishes. I've been doing this literally like in the shower. I've been doing this when I'm like sitting in the car because it's so easy to just do it. So put your fingers on your rib cage, your thumb on your rib cage, and then put your two middle and your index finger in that area there. So what you're going to notice is when you inhale with your chest, and you're going to exhale, and you see how this is now shortening because I'm engaging and I'm bringing my belly button to my spine. Engage and kind of like feel your muscles bringing it in, and that's when you're engaging your TVA. Now, incorporating this to your workouts is so crucial. Like, I think it's definitely easier when you're laying down, but standing up, you'll be able to kind of like see yourself in the mirror. So try doing this where you are putting these fingers here so you can kind of like feel the movement, but you'll really want to remember to expand your chest. So expand the chest. You see my rib cage kind of opening up, right? And then when you release, do it with your mouth, like, ready? Let me bring this up so you can kind of see my mouth too. So, and then, so again from the side. that, my friends, is how you target your TVA muscle. So it like, I feel like it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but once you start doing this, you're going to notice that it gets used so often, especially if you're someone who works out. It gets used so often and it gets used so incorrectly. So what my goal is to start using my TVA correctly, and then start also implementing it in my workouts and like in my day-to-day, because I think that's really like the kicker there, and the biggest impact and difference is when you start incorporating these little breathing techniques into your everyday life, because little habits is what makes big changes. So once you start doing this, like little by little, getting better every time, because really the goal here too is that you want to be able to hold this for a long time. Right now, I can't hold it more than like 30 seconds, and you want to be able to hold this for like a minute or 2 minutes and want to do like frequent rounds of this. And I've noticed I started incorporating this into like squatting and in when I do my ab workouts, which that's going to be another video because I feel like I've been doing abs wrong for years. And now that I learned about this, I started to engage my abs in a completely different way, and it's drastically changed my abs in such a short period of time. And I think it's just because I haven't been engaging my core correctly. I've been engaging it with the top, which I think everyone does that. And I think back now in like Melissa Wood, in her, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she is, we stand. But she, anytime that I've done workouts, her voice comes into mind. She'll always say, belly button to spine, relax your face. And anytime that I do this, it reminds me of her, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like what she meant this whole time. And I don't know why I didn't connect the dots. So yeah, if you're like on the same boat as me, welcome. There's a lot to learn here. Hence why we're treating this process like a marathon. We are taking it and we're taking these things, implementing it, and we really are not going to hold ourselves in a manner that is negative. This is something that I have really struggled with previously, is like kind of getting upset at myself for not doing certain things right. So like the gym, for example, my goal is always to do 4 to 5 times a week. I used to be the type of person who, if I only made it to the gym twice or 3 times, I would get upset at myself. You know, I would feel generally like, oh, you didn't make it this week to your goals. So we're practicing being gentler with ourselves, and this is one of those things that I had to take a good look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, you didn't know, it's okay. But yet here you are learning about it, and you're treating your pregnancy journey like a marathon, and there's so much to learn, and there's things that I'm going to learn that I'm going to be like, I should have known about this before, and that's okay. So we're going to be gentler with ourselves, especially with this whole journey. I think it's such a divine moment, and such a moment that I've waited for my entire life. Really excited to be sharing this with you guys, so I really hope this resonates. If you are on this journey, or if you're thinking about starting this journey, or you've already passed this journey and learned all that you could learn, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinion on this. I want to hear what worked for you, what didn't. Did this have any impact? Did you know about this before? Because again, new to this. So I want to know if you learned about this before, what was your what was your pregnancy or postpartum like? Because that I've learned, I've read a lot about that's really the kicker, where this stuff matters now because of the post. Like your body will thank you at post. So I'm like really hoping that that's the case, because I believe to my core in the power of working out. So fingers crossed that that's really the case. And again, I'm going to be like an experiment on myself and share as much as I can learn with you guys. So hopefully this helps. My next video that I want to do with you guys is on prenatals and just like supplements itself, because once I started doing the supplement journey, I felt so incredibly overwhelmed with just so much on the market, so much like, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this. So we're going to do a video on that, and if you have any thoughts on supplements, drop them in the comments too. Till next time, it was so nice having you here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you and just share all that I can. It's so exciting. I'm just so happy to be doing this and recording the process. I'll see you guys next time.